Tonight, San Antonio police releasing dramatic body cam footage. It captures the intense moments when two San Antonio police officers rushed to save a 6-year-old girl who was found unresponsive in her grandparents' pool. Now, through the video, SAPD highlighting how they truly have heroes on the force. Eyewitness News reporter Addie Guajardo has the emotional story.
Was in pool underwater for 5 minutes, they think. CPR is in progress.
A pool day on a hot summer day in August nearly turned tragic for a family. By the time police arrived, a 6-year-old girl, whose name wasn't released, laid lifeless after being pulled from the pool.
No pulse, no heartbeat.
Officer Robert Mount and Richard Gonzalez, a former EMT, rushed to her side.
Immediately, I picked her up. I checked her airway. You know, she wasn't breathing. Checked her pulse. I didn't feel a pulse at the time.
Her grandfather, Jim Green, intently watched, hoping for a miracle.
And then I did chest compressions, hit more back blows, and she ended up throwing up whatever else she had, and she started breathing, you know, a little by little on her own.
She spent 5 days at North Central Baptist recovering.
Without them, my granddaughter would not be alive.
A terrifying moment caught on camera and burned into the memory of her grandfather.
I'll never get that vision out of my head.
Green now hopes his granddaughter's story can teach an important life lesson and move people to get CPR certified.
If somebody did not start CPR prior to us getting there, this could have been a completely different outcome.
A heroic 911 response that brought back to life a smile her grandfather feared he would never see again.
This truly was a miracle that I'm sitting here talking to you about my granddaughter who was dead on August 18th at about 2:30 in the afternoon and then brought back to life by amazing people.
Addie Guajardo, KENS 5 Eyewitness News.